They say the highway at night has its own set of rules, its own secrets. But what happens when you break one of them? This is the terrifying story of Jake, a truck driver from Nebraska who discovered the truth about a highway legend the hard way. Jake was a long-haul truck driver who'd seen it all, from blinding blizzards to eerie rest stops. But nothing could have prepared him for that fateful night on Route 66. The highway stretched endlessly, lit only by the dim glow of his truck's headlights. He had a delivery to make by dawn, so he kept pushing through the night, sipping coffee to stay awake. It was 2 a.m., the witching hour, when the highway became unnervingly quiet. No cars, no lights, just the hum of his engine and the occasional chirp of crickets. That's when he saw her, a young woman standing on the side of the road, her thumb out, pale and shivering. Jake was hesitant. He'd heard stories about picking up hitchhikers, but leaving someone alone in the middle of nowhere didn't sit right with him. He pulled over. The woman approached, her face partially obscured by her long, dark hair. "Thanks for stopping," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. She climbed into the passenger seat, clutching a small, old-fashioned suitcase. Jake tried to make conversation, but her answers were short, distant. She said her name was Lily and she was heading to a small town about 50 miles up the road. "Weird time to be out here," Jake said, trying to lighten the mood. Lily didn't respond. Instead, she stared out the window, her fingers gripping the suitcase tightly. As they drove, Jake couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The air in the truck felt colder, and his radio, usually crystal clear, began crackling with static. Lily's reflection in the windshield seemed wrong. Her eyes didn't blink, and her expression was unnervingly blank. "So what's in the suitcase?" he asked, attempting to break the tension. Lily turned to him, her eyes meeting his for the first time. They were dark, almost black. "Memories," she said cryptically. Jake laughed nervously. "Well, we've all got those." Lily didn't laugh. Instead, she pointed ahead. "Turn here." The turn led to a narrow, unmarked road. Jake hesitated but complied, the unease in his stomach growing stronger. The road was lined with dense trees, their branches clawing at the truck like skeletal fingers. The headlights barely penetrated the darkness. Suddenly, Lily spoke. "This is far enough," she said, her voice colder than before. Jake stopped the truck. Lily opened the door and stepped out, suitcase in hand. Before closing the door, she turned to him and said, "Thank you, but you shouldn't stay here." And then she vanished, not walked into the woods, vanished. 1 second she was there, the next she wasn't. Jake's heart pounded. He threw the truck into reverse, desperate to get back to the highway. But as he backed up, his headlights illuminated something in the road. The suitcase. It hadn't been there moments ago. Against every instinct, he got out to inspect it. The suitcase was old and battered, with rusted latches. He opened it, and what he saw made his blood run cold. Inside were faded photographs of Lily, but in every photo, she looked different. Sometimes older, sometimes younger, but always with the same haunting, dark eyes. Beneath the photos were news clippings, headlines like "Local Woman Found Dead on Route 66" and "Mysterious Disappearances Linked to Phantom Hitchhiker." The last item in the suitcase was a mirror. When Jake looked into it, he didn't see his own reflection. Instead, he saw Lily, standing right behind him, her hand reaching for his shoulder. Jake screamed and spun around, but there was no one there. He slammed the suitcase shut, threw it back into the truck, and sped off, heart racing. When he finally reached the nearest truck stop, he parked and tried to calm down. He decided to report what happened to the local authorities, but when he went to retrieve the suitcase as evidence, it was gone. No suitcase, no photos, nothing. It was as if Lily had never been there at all. Jake quit trucking soon after that night. He never drove Route 66 again. But every now and then, when he's driving late at night, he swears he sees a figure standing by the roadside, thumb out, clutching a suitcase. So next time you're driving on an empty highway and see someone stranded, think twice before stopping. Because some rides are one way,